Good morning, beautiful people, and welcome to an exciting, fantastic episode of Smell the Coffee with Diana Master and the gorgeous Glenora Shipura. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How have you been? I know we took a little hiatus, to rejuvenate,
To rediscover
to
ourselves.
rediscover, reconnect.
Yes.
But home girl went to the farm and let's not mention.
But you
that
didn't get
I burnt.
sunburn.
I did. I think
Really?
I'm better now this week. But you
Okay.
should have seen me last week. It was like, wow.
bad.
Thank you for that confirmation, though,
No,
because I was just like,
you
oh
don't,
my
you
word.
don't look. No.
Yes,
Relax.
but I need like tips on taking care of my skin, especially when you are in like this harsh conditions. Because I was not even putting on sunscreen, guys. I know.
Yes.
I know.
The most dramatic gasp ever. Sunblock is absolutely important, not just to protect you from sunburn, but also, because then that causes your skin to
Exactly. You
wrinkle
need to
up.
protect your skin. So what I was
Because if you don't use sunblock, you're gonna get wrinkles real quick.
we are staying 21 for like the next 3 decades.
You need to use
Yes.
sunblock and you need to use retinol.
Yeah.
Like before, because I realized that a lot of people start these things instead of them being preventative measures. So you can't start your wrinkle treatment when you already have wrinkles. You must start now.
Before you have.
Before you must use the retinol.
Cure is prevention is
retinoids.
better than the cure. Yeah.
Yes, retinoids, you need to use that. And
What is that
sunblock.
actually?
Retinols and retinoids basically help like pull your skin.
Oh.
Again, I'm not a dermatologist, so this is all just from research that I did on the internet that you can do too. And I heard that flaxseed is actually really good for your skin as well.
Okay, at least that I put in my smoothies.
Yes.
That's how I
Flaxseed,
take
chia
how I take
seeds,
it. Yeah.
those are good. And then some oils, rosehip oil is also good for wrinkles. So yeah, because retinols and retinoids are used as an anti-aging measure.
Exactly. So definitely putting that on my skincare regime for the year. But I feel like there's just a lot going on. I know you and I talked last night, and we were talking
spoke for
about
hours.
Oh, it's so good to have this sister moment.
Yeah.
So we were talking about our vision boards for the year. I mean, earlier in the year, beginning of the year, we talked about just creating the vision boards, and we have gone out and actually created them. So we were just talking about like, oh wow, this is much broader than I thought. Like I literally just realized talking to you, like I actually need to put that down there, what I want to achieve in terms of my routine with my skincare routine, for instance. So it's not just limited to just like the big life goals. It can also come down to like
the very tiny goals, because these are things that we forget about. And then also if you add these on your vision board or on your to-do list or whatever your goals for the year, when you tick them off, you're going to feel so accomplished.
Exactly.
Because it's like, okay, fine, maybe you didn't get to reach that very big milestone.
Yes.
But
I have been drinking water regularly.
Yes.
I've done my, is it 2 liters or whatever?
Exactly. I've been hitting my maybe 3 days a week gym routine, things like that. Also put the small achievements, because those are achievements nonetheless. And also we were speaking about not living in the moment. Like you're always so focused on the next thing that you don't even realize that right now you're living in answered prayers. We prayed for this moment, but now you're constantly looking towards the next best thing.
When is the next thing happening?
And that's the thing with life, because you're always going to be, trying to get to the next thing. You're always going to have this big goal. So now it's like, okay, fine, I want to get a new job. Right? Instead of just appreciating, now it's like, okay, but I want to make manager now. So you're constantly chasing these things that you don't even get to enjoy.
Exactly. So once you get it, it just becomes the next other thing. And and that's also one of the things that I want to do consciously this year, to just really be present and be like, oh, right now I am doing Smell the Coffee with a good friend. We get to enjoy this instead of like, oh, the next meeting or
exactly. And like in 5 years I should be doing this. No, we're not saying don't have goals and visions. Have them, but also enjoy the moment. On that note, we'll be right back with our top stories right after this. Now let's dive into a story that is making big waves in Hollywood. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have found themselves in a legal feud with Justin Baldoni, and the drama just keeps escalating. For those who haven't been following, here's a quick backstory. This all began with Blake Lively accusing Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment on the set of It Ends With Us, a claim Baldoni strongly denies. Things escalated when Baldoni filed a $400 million counter lawsuit against Lively and Reynolds, accusing them of defamation, civil extortion, and more. Lively and Reynolds in turn requested a court gag order to silence Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, claiming his public comments could taint the jury pool if the case goes to trial. But Friedman isn't backing down. In a fiery statement, he accused Lively of using Hollywood's power structures to control the narrative. He also claimed to have text messages, video footage, and other evidence proving Baldoni's innocence. The irony is not lost on anyone that Miss Lively is so petrified of the truth that she has moved to gag it, Friedman said in a statement to Page 6. The immense power that she wielded in Hollywood, built on pure fear of her husband and their powerful friends, came to an end the moment Miss Lively planned a mass distribution of a disturbingly false and well-calculated hit piece in the New York Times. Miss Lively did this with the sole intent to ruin the lives of innocent individuals, and then went the extra mile to place blame on fictitious smear campaign, all because she quite simply could not accept the fact that the public had organically seen through her facade. This was, of course, Brian Friedman's statement. Meanwhile, Lively and Reynolds argue that Friedman's media blitz, including interviews and leaked materials, violates professional conduct rules and contains false statements. They insist their actions were not malicious and deny all allegations against them. Sources close to the It Ends With Us director 41 reacted to Lively's legal move on Friday, saying they found it grossly unfair after Lively's sexual harassment claims were published by the New York Times.
Ooh, I mean, I've been following this story ever since the movie came out.
Yes.
I didn't even know that there was a movie coming out.
Yeah.
I just knew the feud of these two behind the scenes before the movie even came out. Like, I was just like, what movie? Like, literally, that's what promoted the movie.
That's literally why I
yeah.
also started watching. I had to watch the movie
because of that beef. Yeah, because I was like,
beef.
what is happening here? But also, one thing that I did like when I saw the promotional material was how Justin Baldoni came out and he literally was so much about emphasizing the importance of the movie, because it is addressing heavy topics, heavy themes. We're dealing with DV victims. So, and he was really, really empathetic towards the survivors, and he carried the message through. Whereas Blake Lively,
she was promoting her hairline, she was promoting her husband's
get your
movie.
Florals, get your
florals and your girls and go watch the movie.
I thought it was, because I have not watched the movie, so I'm just like, is this a heavy,
watch it.
movie, or is it literally get your florals?
Yes, like it's a love story.
Are we gonna have like a love story situation? Is it like fun? So I found that a bit jarring and then for her to come out
as
between
the two of them,
and
also the fact that they weren't promoting the movie together
Exactly.
and they're the leads. That's never happened before. Or like if it does, it's very odd and it's very strange. But I have to say, when you watch the movie, this is why actors are amazing. You cannot tell that there's beef or there's drama or anything.
But also that clip that he released, because
of them dancing, like when they were getting that scene in, like I was just like, wow. But people, like there's some people, of course, that are for Blake that are saying, what if all of these publicity, like from Justin Baldoni's side, what if it's just a publicity stunt?
I did hear that argument, but at the same time, we also wear your florals, wear your, and
it wasn't
that was
just
not
that.
Justin Baldoni making her say those things.
And it wasn't just that, because now also past interviews are resurfacing.
Exactly. Did he make her also?
Yes, there's
say those
one
things?
There's one YouTube channel, there's one interviewer. She posted a video that said, the interview with Blake Lively that made me want to quit my job.
Whoa.
That says a lot.
Wow.
That says a lot, because people were saying also she has this mean girl spirit to her.
And that was also the rumors during her Gossip Girl era.
Yes.
I think she and the girl that acted as Blair, is it Blair?
I
Not
did
Blair,
not watch
sorry.
Gossip Girl.
Yeah. But the other girl, there was some,
Yes.
serious behind the scenes feuds between the two, and they did mention that she had that mean girl syndrome in her, and she had diva-like tendencies.
And now they're linking that to her being friends with Taylor Swift.
You know,
apparently
yeah.
Taylor Swift gives off the same vibes.
Vibes.
It's a weird situation, but for now, I think
Did you
we
see
just have to sit back
the
and
dragons comment? It was so Khaleesi, and I got dragons around me, so you better please me or else.
There was
I'm
also
paraphrasing it, of course, but it was
time-
weird. It was a very weird thing to say.
It's the fact that they got married, her and Ryan got married at a plantation.
Like what?
She did a photo shoot where she was basically saying she misses slave days.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, how is Justin Baldoni orchestrating this? I mean, you did this yourself. Before we get carried away, because you and I, we will talk about this story till, our ears fall off. Getting to our next story, Chris Brown has filed a defamation lawsuit against Warner Bros. For labeling him a serial rapist and abuser in Investigation Discovery's docuseries, Chris Brown, A History of Violence. Now, in the lawsuit filed in California's Superior Court for Los Angeles County, Brown sues Warner Bros. Ample and the documentary producers for alleged defamation, libel, and infliction of emotional distress. Through the claims made in the documentary, he is seeking $500 million in damages and a jury trial. In the docuseries, one of the accusers, identified as Jane Doe, alleges Brown raped her in 2020. Denying the claims in the documentary, the R&B singer's attorneys claim in the lawsuit that the case is about the media putting their own profits over the truth. Now, the suit adds that the network aired the documentary knowing that it was full of lies and deception and violating journalistic principles. Now, the filing alleges that the woman identified as Jane Doe had previously been discredited as an alleged perpetrator of intimate partner violence and aggressor herself. The lawsuit states that Brown has not ever been convicted of any sex crimes, but the project paints him as a serial rapist and sexual abuser. Now, an earlier complaint from Doe was dismissed in August 2022 after a Miami Beach police officer discovered text messages sent by Doe that exposed her dishonesty. Brown's filing claims. Now, the filing further alleges that the documentary has damaged Brown's career and business opportunities. Despite being provided with evidence disproving their claims, the producers of this documentary intentionally promoted false and defamatory information, knowingly disregarding their ethical obligations as journalists, Brown's attorney Levi McCarthy said in a release shared with People. Now, their actions undermine not only Mr. Brown's decade-long efforts to rebuild his life, but also the credibility of true survivors of violence.
I mean, there's no excuse for domestic violence whatsoever.
Exactly.
But, that whole Rihanna thing, that was very public.
Exactly.
We all know about it. So I don't think...
Even Karrueche, his other girlfriend.
Yeah, Karrueche Tran.
She had a restraining order against him.
Oh, my
Yes.
goodness.
So there's a lot of I remember her doing the interview with Iyanla Vanzant, but then also she did have a restraining order against him, and she did claim that he was violent. I think he pushed her down the stairs or something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are still claims.
These are still claims.
Yeah, but it's quite heavy. I didn't even know there was a documentary till this lawsuit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what documentary are you guys talking about?
But you know what? This is my thing with big producers and whatnot. They benefit off of other people's misfortunes. And unfortunately, that's just the world we live in now. So at the end of the day, yes, he does have the right to sue for defamation and all of that. But also, these are things that happen very publicly.
Exactly. Like some of these, I'm like, guys.
Yeah.
Are we saying a rehabilitated man or
yes? What is it? What's gonna happen?
Is it a cover-up?
Because also the fact that he's tried so hard to rebuild his brand, it was very difficult for him to come from that
to where he is now.
Yes, and again, we're not excusing the fact that he did what he did. I was wrong.
It was really
It is
wrong.
what it is. But anyway, that brings us to the end of our top stories. Do let us know what you think on, or what your thoughts are on some of these stories that we shared. Right after the break, we're getting into an exciting interviews from one of our shows, Past Rebooted. Stick around.
Mr. Boshoff, could you please tell us how long you've been a part of the Neopaints journey and how your journey started?
Yes, our journey started in 2016. We bought the company from the previous owners, myself and 2 private equity funds. And so it's basically 7 years now, getting into the paint industry and the manufacturing industry at that time. So been part of the journey now for 7 years. Been quite a hectic journey. I think everybody remembers that just 2016, 2017, the construction industry in Namibia went into quite a severe recession. So yeah, it's been an interesting time, given the 70 years that the paint factory has existed.
All right. And how do you feel the environment has changed since the time you started up until now?
Yeah, I think if you look at the whole Namibian environment, I think everybody's experienced significant change. You know, we've gone through COVID, 2-3 hectic years. Since then, we've gone through a period where, there's been a lot of turmoil over the last year or so, almost 2 years, with regard to everything happening in Europe. And then we can see that there's been a massive, what we can call as a consolidation in the paint industry in the world. So the big international companies has been gobbling up the smaller companies has been growing, and we can feel that pressure from international groups. So we see a lot more big players in the market that obviously wants to be in Namibia as well. I think everybody wants to be in Namibia. But yeah, we definitely see that environment of who the role players are, what the different types of paint, how the shift in what can I say, more lower quality paints are coming through. So yes, it's been quite a interesting time that we've been through over the last few years.
All right. Well, in the 21st century, it's almost impossible to talk about change without technology. How has technology changed or progressed in your time with Neopaints? And of course, prior to acquiring Neopaints, you would have been keeping an eye on them. How do you feel that has changed?
Yeah, definitely. I think over the last few years, we've built a new factory. And on that factory, the processes and the technology that we use has improved and significantly. I think the biggest thing is that gives you data. And the more data you have, the more analysis and the more fine tuning, if I can call it that way, happens. So we have massive amounts of data that we currently work with. Everything was extremely stable. I would say even up to 5 years ago. Now, with everything happening in the world, you have daily and weekly and monthly fluctuations, and you need to understand at any given day what is your business doing and where's your profitability and what is every batch that you manufacture, what is the cost of every batch of every raw material going into that batch. That's something I want to say 5-10 years ago that you looked at once a year. Now you do it daily, and you need to understand exactly what is happening on your business, and you need the data to highlight it for you, so that you can make quick and fast decisions.
All right. Now, looking into the future, what do you feel is next on the Neopaints journey?
I think Namibia. I think everybody's very excited about what seems to going to be happening in Namibia, and so are we. I think we are going to experience a lot more pressure from globalization. I think we're going to be exposed a lot more to international role players, not just in the paint sector, but companies that's going to invest in Namibia if the oil industry and the green hydrogen industry takes off like we expect it's going to do. So I think we need to be prepared as Namibian companies to interact, compete, and service these international role players to a very, very professional standard. And that's what we expect, and that's what we are planning for in the future.
All right. Now, speaking of the future, what role do you personally see yourself playing in the future success of Neopaints?
That's a very good question. It depends on whether you're going to tell my age or not. So yes, no. Look, like I said, I'm one of the shareholders in the company. So we plan to be around for a while. And we're planning to expand and grow and the company, and also not just in Namibia. So for us and for me personally, if I can say that, then hopefully. We've weathered the storm over the last few years, and now we can experience the positive environment that Namibia is going to go into over the next few years.
All right. Now, of course, you're a shareholder, so due diligence is a part of your job. But just from an emotional perspective, have you grown more fond of Neopaints outside just the business, just the people you work with, after taking over?
Look, I think any business that you work in, you become family. If you don't, then I think there's something wrong with you. And the same happened with me. So you're very close to the people that you work with. It's a manufacturing environment, so there's a lot of things happening, and there's a lot of activity. And if you don't trust one another, and if you're not part of the people, then you've got a problem. So yes, I've been very blessed with the people that we've worked with over the last few years. And if you look at the generations coming in and how they develop, I do really see a very bright future. There's a lot of young Namibians that come into the company, professional people, and it's unbelievable to see how they develop. And I think the wonderful opportunities that exist for them. So yes, from an emotional point of view, it's tough not to get very emotionally attached to everybody in the company, and to the brand. I mean, it's just such an amazing brand that is so iconic in Namibia, and you just experience it every day that you're in the industry.
Nice, yes, certainly. Very heartwarming. And just the last thing, we spoke about, how Neopaints would adapt, how Neopaints has been adapting. But with regards to the future, just a small word on what you feel, without any restrictions, Neopaints' potential is.
Look, I think our potential is to a large degree still linked to Namibia's future. It's very difficult to perform in a country or an environment that is not performing, and that's what makes me very positive. I think where we are now as a nation is very promising to me. So I'm very optimistic about what happens in Namibia. But yes, I think with technology and globalization, the opportunity to be part of an industry worldwide has developed significantly over the last few years, and we are really trying to tap into it, so that we're not an isolated company in Namibia that doesn't know what's happening in the world. So we've really reached out to international role players and firms across the world, which we contact with on a daily basis. So I think getting that interaction and that exposure, and that is very valuable for us, and that will stand us in good stead going into the future.
All right. And of course, working in Southern Africa, you never work in a vacuum. What's it like working across borders or potentially collaborating with other companies?
There's always very good opportunity. I think over the last few years, just because of the worldwide environment, we were reaching out, and we were looking at opportunities across Southern Africa, and then it sort of got stuck and got on hold, like I think a lot of companies did. But yes, we're definitely reaching out. there's definitely opportunities, and hopefully in the future, you know, you'll be the first ones to know. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Victor.
And that's a wrap for today's show. Thank you so very much for joining us. We do hope you enjoy this episode as much as we did bringing it to you. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, same place.